Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Ariandes.
Hey, everybody.
And Sanswinda.
Hello.
And please welcome our special guest for tonight, Black.
Hey, guys.
Hello there, Black, and welcome to LOTRO Players News.
Thank you very much.
And we will begin by asking you how you got interested in Tolkien, LOTRO, and the LOTRO community. So let's start with Tolkien.
I actually began with the movies when they came out. My wife and I, we went to see them, not having read the books or anything. And at that point, I kind of fell in love with the whole mythos and everything around it. I immediately went and read the books because I couldn't wait for the second movie to come out, even though it was only a year away. And so from there, we just kind of took off from that. We have kids, so our two daughters, we actually got them involved with it. I actually sat with them during the summer and spent like an entire week going through the entire through the extended versions of the movies. We would break it down like every 30 minutes or so. I'd stop and ask them questions about it. And they were probably about 9 or 11 years old about that time. So that was kind of a lot for them. But instead of having them read it, it was just a way to introduce them. So from that, probably a year or two later, LOTRO came out. Jumped into it about 2008 after it had been out for a year. Got into the game. My wife looked at it one weekend. She's like, "Oh, that looks like a lot of fun." So she jumped into it. Then our daughters jumped into it. So at one point we had 2 lifetime accounts. We played pretty much straight through. That was shortly before Moria came out, and so we played from then until about Isengard. And then when Isengard came out, I got a little disenchanted with it and kind of took a break. Our daughters actually took over our lifetime accounts, and they kept playing. We kind of took a break, and then we came back about a year ago, so we've been back ever since.
All right. And what's your role in the LOTRO community?
As far as the community goes, the only thing I've really done is when we came back, at that point, I've done some YouTube guide videos on other games. So I haven't really done any guides yet. But I did start helping new player questions, especially ones that would pop up in Reddit and stuff. So I'm on there daily helping people try to figure out which quest packs they should buy, what they should do when they're first starting out, things like that. But I actually haven't gone through because I see that there are some people on there that are actually doing some great jobs with guides and whatnot. So I kind of feel like the space is already filled, but I'm definitely out there to help out with questions.
All right. Then let's head into our game news, and we will begin with update 22.0.1.
Yeah, and that's just a little bitty update, but they updated I was actually kind of surprised at the release notes for this, which is why I included it in the show notes. There's actually a lot of little things that got changed. A lot of the known issues that they had when it first released, of course, now there are new known issues, but this is what happens. You change one thing and you break 5 more. Right. One of my favorite ones actually is that featured instances no longer displays as animates mounted if you select it, which I've actually noticed previously a couple of times, and I just thought it was I didn't even really think anything of it, but I guess enough people have finally bugged it that they actually changed it. So.
All right, and I noticed that one of them is the lecture emote no longer is barred by the SOS emote. And apparently the lecture emote was important for some point in the Black Book that I haven't reached yet, which is how it got noticed so quickly.
I didn't even realize there was a lecture emote.
Well, I think it might have been created for... It's a possibility that it was created for Update 22. But the problem is it was on the same barring as SOS, so anyone... And of course, if you're... During the Black Book, you probably finished it's a possibility that you've finished all of book 4, and if you had, you would have the SOS emote.
You get the SOS emote, yeah. Well, you kind of really have to in order to get into Mordor.
No, because if you skipped anything in book 4, you don't get the SOS emote. You only get it if you finish everything
that's right,
in
if you
Mordor.
finish the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Put that on my list of emotes to collect.
On a side note, under the quest and adventure areas, it says, fixed a wood elf NPC in Felagoth whose clothes were being displayed, but not the body. It's the mysterious case of the Invisa elf.
Yeah, actually I saw a screenshot of that on Twitter. It was very, very creepy. Like clothes and hair, but no actual elf was displayed.
That was... And apparently male elves now can actually play the fiddle, because apparently they weren't doing it before.
Well, they could play the fiddle before, it just wasn't animating them as playing the fiddle before.
Well, yes, that's it.
Music was happening, they just didn't have the animation synced up to it. So now the animation is there.
Right. And let's see, and of course, all sorts of little things relating to the new area and on the quests going on there, so we won't go into that. Now, there is one thing that happened. I get the impression it was done after the update on the server side, and they did something that they think is going to correct the issue that some people have where their splash screens weren't being updated. Now, I noticed that when I've checked today to see how my splash screens were, it was coming up with the Mordor one, the ad for Mordor. At least it wasn't coming up with the Fall Festival ones anymore, which is what made it blindingly obvious that there was something wrong.
Yeah, I've been seeing Harvest Math ones for a while, but I didn't actually pay attention today when I was in game.
Right, because I think they did that little tweak yesterday, so I don't know if it's corrected for everybody or what, because as I said, I haven't seen Harvest ones whenever I check. The problem is it's not exactly something you go around checking all the time.
Oh, some improvements have been made to the chat filters censored words file. So this is another thing that I saw on Twitter and actually ran across fairly recently, because I ran a character through part of Volume 1, Book 1. The word buck, B-U-C-K, was filtered by the chat filter, so it was coming up like symbols, which is extremely noticeable if you go to Buckland.
Actually, I thought it wasn't because of Buckland. I thought it was because of KLAN being in there.
I don't know, but the whole word got censored.
Yeah, it got censored because of one of the internal parts of it, and they're having a lot of trouble with because they switched the company that was providing the filtering.
Yeah, well, and it was, like I said, it was glaringly obvious. I know what it was. It was Sunday, because before we decided to do something else other than burglars on Sunday, I was catching my burglar up on the bits of Volume 1, Book 1, where you are getting up to go see Tom Bombadil. And so, of course, one of the quests is Horncall of Buckland, and it was Horncall of Bunch of Simples. I screenshotted it because it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's been tweaked.
They also fixed linking items as well, I believe.
Yeah, linking items was the other one that was fixed because they're having some trouble with linking items also triggering the filter. Anything else anyone wants to comment on the update? Now, there was some word from Cordovan that they are currently working on a 20.1, probably not a major update or anything like that, so we'll see how that goes along. And there was a note that in Update 22, they did make an attempt at doing one of those things that Terry Adwin really wants, and that is the lore bookshelf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were actually working on one for update 22, and they ran into technical issues. So it wasn't ready for public use by then.
But they're working on it. That's
But
cool.
they are definitely working on it.
That's really awesome.
That's really amazing.
So we can only hope that they manage to get around those technical issues. Then with that, let's head into the LOTRO Beacon, where we have a couple of kids dancing, I presume, in Lake Town.
There's a bunch of fish on the wall, so yeah, I'm going to go with Lake Town.
Lake Town sounds like the most likely place for that.
Plus, I think I kind of sort of see an outhouse in the distance of that photo.
Well, that could also be a clue on that matter.
It's definitely Lake Town construction, though.
And the Laurelin Archives is a database for players on Laurelin where they could present their characters, kinships, and other assorted work. So if you are on Laurelin, you could click on the link in the beacon in order to check that out. Or, of course, if you want to see some items there to see what's going on in Laurelin. And Vanyala 3L goes through chapters 5 and 6 of the Black Book of Mordor on, I don't know, was that a stream or was that YouTube?
I don't know.
It's on YouTube now.
Spoilers.
Right. Yeah, some people wouldn't have done that. Right now, I have, on my own series, gotten only about partway through book 6 so far. I've gotten through chapter 5 and partway through 6 so far on my series, which I'm pretty sure Terry has been avoiding that series too.
Yep. I don't want spoilers.
Right. And Paul Lunier invites everyone to enjoy a special spring music program on March 24th in Laurelin.
That is next Saturday for those of or this coming Saturday for those of you who are not listening live.
And Fibro Jedi has created a new guide to help players navigate through the Spring Festival.
Yes, updated.
And updated, yes.
Where was this yesterday? I needed this yesterday.
It's there yesterday. I think I attempted to look it up, though.
It's been up for a couple of days, actually.
Why didn't I look at it yesterday then?
I had trouble finding the cosmetics in there. They seem to be tucked in a corner that was hard for me to see. Either that or he's updated it since then. It makes it easier to see. And Finero Noseo is a kin on Laurelin that is always looking for new members. There's a lot of Laurelin stuff today. And they're a casual social kin with events almost every day of the week, including horse races, instance events, hide and seek, and much more. And our weekly comment is, how will you be celebrating the Springfest?
By getting a hedgehog.
Oh, yes, that's right. On Court of the Rings, that's how Cord finished off his episode. He's been apparently must have been doing the Springfest because at the end of it, when I was tuning in,
He got a hedgehog?
He got a hedgehog, yep, and he was showing off his hedgehog.
Those things are the cutest thing.
I
They're
know.
so cute.
And Dandan continues the journey through Mordor in part 30 of his Mordor expansion series. Gamaliel Dan continues his Let's Play LOTRO series, on which he's at part 83 of Brother's Plea. Squirmius tackles Book 2, Chapter 5 in his series Falling at LOTRO. And our screenshot of the week is apparently someone taunting a lynx.
Yep.
It's a really good shot.
It is. That's the Dow's emote that you get from the treasure hunting festival.
Yes, and she positioned herself right in front of her lynx. So it looks as if she's trying to tease the lynx with the with the
She's
gem
got
for
a
the
bow,
dowsing.
so that's not a lore master link. So it's got to be one of the cosmetic links. So I'm guessing it's a Willem Whisker.
Oh, you're right. It's probably a Willem Whisker then. You're correct. That is a bow, not a staff. And that is brought to us by Crown of Antlers and their creative use of emotes.
On a side note, what robe is that, Terry? Can you tell?
Yeah, that's one of the robes from Dunland. It's one of the light armor quest rewards. There's like 5 or 6 different ones that
Okay,
share the
sweet.
same appearance.
Yeah, I think that's
So
one of
when
the things that made me think of a lore master instead of a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You do frequently see it on lore masters, yes. It's interesting because actually you can kind of see the pant leg there, so it's a robe specifically over pants. There's a cuffed pant leg on the one leg.
Right.
Yeah.
Then let us head into the sales for this week. And Terry, what's for sale this week? Is it going to take you places?
Wow.
Wow. All right.
How do we follow up with that?
The weekly coupon this week is Fall Injury Immunity times 5 with coupon code Fall Injury now through March 22nd. Also, 30% off Milestone Skills, Hurried Traveler and Returning Traveler, Advanced Riding Traits, and Rally Horns. Now is the time, if you have not already gotten your Journeyman Riding skill, you want to get your Journeyman Riding skill. 78% horse speed for all of your horses for all time ever. And 30%
And
off is a
goats.
great bargain.
So even the first slow goat that you get in Moria will go fast.
Okay, and goats and elk and whatever other mounts they come up with.
Gosh, Terry, be more specific.
Sorry, I was just thankful that the slow goat that I earned from the quest reward was going fast thanks to Journeyman Riding this week.
That's
So
true. That's true.
That was all. I wasn't trying to nitpick. Sorry.
Yeah, because normally that goat's like a 32% speed and it's not even worth using. But yes,
Yeah.
with Journeyman Riding skill, you don't even have to go out of your way to get an extra goat. You can just get the quest reward in Moria and it's fine.
Right. So then let's head into our site news, and we'll begin with a poem by the Antipodean writer Melkor's Seeking. Into the void I sally frequently to search for the Baroness. Oh, where did he hide his imperishable flame by which he made the ironer? Though I frequently essay to find the flame, always I find it not. Yet in my inmost being desires hot consume my soul with a lusting to create creatures that live, to dictate all their fate. I shall be God. I shall be like Eru. I must grow stronger. This I plan to do, to make more slaves than Iluvatar has made. My glory, like the rising star, will blaze brightly to fill the universe. Where is the flame? My ambitions I nurse. I'll bend its power to work good or ill. So Melkor seeks, but find he never will.
Nice one.
Wait, Melkor's twisted.
Well, yeah.
Props to the Antipodean writer. That one was good.
It's a
I mean,
nice
all of his
picture.
are good, but you know.
And let's have our new question for the week then.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yes.
Sorry. This week we actually don't have a question, but instead, I would really, really encourage people to go check out the Spring Festival Guide by Vibro Jedi. It's really intuitive and it covers everything from, the maze to all the different quests you can do and a lot of the different rewards you can get. It's got the hedgehog on there, which is, personal goal for a lot of us. So go check that out. The link will be in the show notes.
Very well, then let's go back to our guest. And Black, I was wondering if there's anything you wish to talk about, promote, or whatever.
Not really promote, but I do have a question. Actually, a kind of a new player question.
All right.
When it comes to the wallet and trophies that you might collect, say, on one character, is there any way that trophy, like, let's say you get, like, the perfect bear hide or whatever, that you want to trade for, say, like, the in-league rep, is there any way to do that with a different character, or must it be on that character?
Unfortunately, it must be on that character because those are character-bound trophies and they do not go by account.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. However, the wallet is really handy by the barter wallet is really handy by putting those in there and not taking up bag space.
Yes, definitely.
But even if you didn't have the barter wallet and it was still taking up space in your bags, it would say bound to character name specifically.
Okay, all right. I forgot how that worked out since back when I used to play, and then I came back and this great wallet thing was here. So, yeah, just a
The
question.
wallet thing is awesome.
It's crazy good, yes.
How do you access the barter wallet? I've never heard of that.
Oh, you never even heard of it?
No.
Default key is B. It shows all of your currency, so it's going to show you your marks, medallions.
Oh, that's
then
what it's called.
like-
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually called the barter wallet.
Okay, sorry. I have heard of that and I have seen
It
it. I
actually
thought this
it
was
says
something else.
wallet on the screen, but a lot of people just call it the barter wallet because
Okay,
they
gotcha.
store all of their barter currencies in it.
I know.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, I usually use the small circular button that's surrounding the map, the mini map.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of those, I can't remember the exact positions. It's one of the buttons on the right side, which I click on and which to open up the wallet whenever I want it.
It's
Yes,
like
and
the 1
everybody
o'clock
knows-
position.
Yeah,
And
1 o'clock.
everybody knows that Terry doesn't click on things, so I know what the keybind is.
Right, and I wouldn't know the keybind because I never. Yeah, I usually click.
So it works out.
And that's one of the things that can be upgraded in the store, right?
Yes.
So that it can hold more things.
More things, yeah, and
Yeah, by
lot
default,
more
it just holds your basic currency and marks, medallions, and stuff, and then you can upgrade it in the store to hold all of your different barter currencies, including the trophies.
Yes, the upgraded wallet. Don't leave home without it.
No kidding.
Then let's head into our week in Lotro. And Black, what were you up to this last week?
Okay, so I have a Bjorning, which is my only 115 character. It's her name's Blacklyn, and I ran the featured instance for this week with her. Started trying to work on a little bit more of the Black Book of Mordor. I'm kind of stuck right now. I just hit that prison, and that's kind of a pretty nasty place to be by yourself. So that's where I'm at with her. Other than that, I've been doing the Spring Fest the last few days, trying to get the new pets. And I got to say, I'm kind of skeptical about the unattended beers that's just sitting on the ground in the maze.
They're flat by now, yes.
Yeah, it just seems kind of crazy. I don't know if you should trust that. Other than that, I've been working on a Thelian rep for the foxes for my my Berg Pinched. That's thanks to Terry. She mentioned that a couple episodes ago, so I've been trying to get the foxes. And other than that, just doing random roving threats. That's about it.
Well, Arendis, what have you been up to?
Well, this week, I actually showed my mom around Lotro a little bit, and she liked what she saw. So at some point, she might actually get in game, which I think would be hilarious and awesome at the same time. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, similar to Terry's mother, or in a different way?
Similar to Terry's mother, but also different at the same time. I also went through a little of the Spring Festival. This is my first time doing the Spring Festival, and it was pretty fun. Got lost in the maze pretty quickly, but finally made my way out. Where was the Spring Festival guide? Like I said earlier, I should have thought of that. I also ran Trouble in Tugborough on my champion. I'm trying to level her up a little bit. I somehow managed to get lost halfway through, which is I know. Like, how can you get lost in a closed instance?
I can still do it. Sorry.
Oh, you can, especially if you have to go after that warg.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you're not alone. Yeah.
I didn't know. It got to the point to where I was so lost. I was running around the outside of like the city part, like the city wall, or something like that. So it was pretty bad. But eventually, I figured out where I was. And right before the show started, I created a Hobbit burglar to run with the girls. Her name is Pokey McStabby Stab. I'm very glad that name wasn't taken. And this is my first time playing a Hobbit and a burglar, so that should be fun. I'm excited to figure out how this is going to work. Terry, what did you do this week?
Well, most of the girls were MIA this week, so instead of doing burglars, Sans and Maven and I, just because it was just the three of us, ran the North Cotton Farm featured instance, since it's a 3-man. So very short girl stream, but it turns out that North Cotton Farm is kind of a piece of cake when you have a champion and 2 hunters. Just everything dies. I went...
everything that hobbits have to survive.
Well,
everything evil died.
Okay,
everything. Well, Glorgirl died too because she managed to get... She wasn't paying attention to her health. She was more focused on slapping the hobbits, so she ended up in a puddle.
She actually
like
was in
5
multiple puddles.
She actually was in like 5 puddles because I was counting the rings around her. So yeah. I actually went into tank mode on Terry. I typically run in red line, but I do have blue and yellow traded, so I went into blue line for Terry and tanked the spider and then the cauldron. So I was standing in, I was standing in 6 puddles, and my health was slowly starting to go down in blue line. And I finally decided to go ahead and move to the other side of the cauldron, because my health got to almost halfway. And that was the cauldron, by the way, was like at only a quarter of his health left. So he didn't last much longer after I moved. And one of the other things I did this week was Foriadoc Whiskido, who is my Hobbit guardian.
Oh my gosh, the name. The name is amazing.
Okay, so Foriadoc Whiskido and his buddy Forgrin Putback. Forgrin is Trish's character. We created these guys to be part of Middle-earth lore. They are Merry and Pippin in the Middle-earth lore videos where you see the Fellowship of Hobbits.
No way! Yes.
So, and when we were going back and forth and deciding names when we first created them, I said, well, what about faux? Because F-A-U-X means fake in French. So it's Foriadoc, and then when we got to last names, I was like, well, Meriadoc's last name is Brandybuck. So I said, well, how about Whiskido? So it's Foriadoc Whiskido, and Peregrine's last name is Chook. So I was like, well, you could do either putt, like P-U-T-T, the golf thing, or like put it back. So she did both. So it's P-U-T-T back. So yes, they've been running together like since creation. We got them up to Moria, and then somebody decided to stop doing Middle-earth lore, so we have kind of left them there. But they got dusted off to explore some more of Moria this week. And I learned that I still can't guardian. It's fine when I have the minstrel running behind me to just yell at things and it dies. When we got to the solo going to find the Way of Smiths, the halls where Zigglebuck was forged, that's a solo only instance. It took forever. Because even as a Redline Guardian, I was doing crap damage. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. We've decided that we're just going to run them through the epic and not do side quests for as long as we can. So, should be really interesting because right now stuff is like yellow and orange. But yeah, it's fine. I've got minstrel backup, so it's completely fine. And then on Thursday, we finished exploring Thranduil's Hall, which sadly still has no snacks, except we found flowers. So maybe the elves are snacking on flowers. I don't know. But anyway, we moved out into Erin Lasgullen proper, which is what they're calling the Mirkwood. along with the Hobbit companions. So we're now looking for lost Furballs. Apparently
Yes.
we found one of the Furballs, but one of the Furballs is still missing. So we're still looking for a lost Furball. And that was a lot of fun. I actually streamed that and got viewers this week, which was kind of trippy for me because I haven't had viewers on my channel in ages. So, Sanswinda, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. Besides some of the stuff that was already mentioned, I started questing in Enidwythe with Sunders on our Captain and Guardian duo, as we're working our way through Epic Volume 3, and we're way over level, but that's been fun going back through. And, yeah, killing stuff with the two of them, even way over level, still feels really, really, really slow. I mean, stuff is dying, but I think that's largely due to my archer sometimes. Anyway, and that's been fun. Took her through the Shadow Wolf things, and the torches were pretty funny. She's like, the first thing I always do when I go into a dark, scary place is put out all the lights. Oh, wait. So we talked like, well, maybe they were like actually trying to put out shadow. I don't know what they were doing, but
Do you mean the torches that put out shadow instead of light?
Right, except they look more like they're putting out light and shadow. So I'm not entirely sure. Maybe your graphics were just on the wrong setting. But it seemed darker after putting them out than lighter. So that was pretty funny. And on the field trip, we started questing in the Great River area, and we're getting really close to level 71. Most of us are level 70. And yeah, that was pretty fun. I'm still a little bit miffed with the elves. They're like, hey, how about you look around for some trespassers? And an orc walks by. And they're like, no, the orc totally belongs here. Go look for trespassers. Yeah. They just like stand there and watch the orc wander past and wander back past.
Trespassers.
Right? But yeah, we helped the elves in Rohirrim reach a sort of agreement. And I discovered that you can the good hiding places apparently include inside the tents at the campsite. So, yeah, that was interesting. And especially with my glowy-handed minstrel, whose hands sometimes, like, came through the side of the tent while I was doing that. That was funny.
I'm being subtle. Watch me be subtle.
Right. There's totally nobody here. This is a ghost. Yeah. And then I started a low-level hunter duo in the Shire on a different server to take advantage of the level boost last weekend and had a blast. Yeah, I think probably the only thing better than one hunter, especially at low levels for just wiping things out, is probably two hunters. Or more hunters. I should just say more hunters, because you could get crazy numbers, though, and then it might not be so much fun, because nobody would get a shot half the time. But, yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, I'm really looking forward to running those hunters more. And that was my week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
We will then begin with my Crick Hollow Warden, where I was participating in the Sunday night's grades. We started with Assault in Ringlade's lair. We're all inside, and just as we're getting ready to go out, one of the members says, "You remember the time back when we had 2 priests of vengeance?" And like he wanted to dredge up that memory. They started dredging up that memory. We start going out, of course, against them, and I see that up ahead, it looks like we've got a priest of vengeance up ahead. And then I saw one of them move, and it was actually 2 priests of vengeance superimposed with each other.
No.
Right, wait. So he had just talked about there being. Remember when we had 2 priests of vengeance, and what do we get? We get 2 priests of vengeance right after that for our first lieutenant that we get in there.
Priest of Vengeance, deja vu.
Yeah, so we really were happy that the person reminded of that, and then we wound up getting it because Priests of Vengeance are real not fun to go up against. Then on my Evernight Warden, I started a Volume 3 of the Epic Storyline, which means that I have finished unlocking all of the skirmishes, and that means I could start on my quest for attempting to get Skirmisher Middle-earth on Evernight, since that is the only English language server where I currently don't have that title on. Then on my Langeval High Elf Warden, and I was doing with Sands and Cinders today, and as we're going through there, I decided to open up a loot box that dropped. And let's see, what's inside of here? Marks.
Because Pine Leaf needs more of those.
Yeah, like I need more of those. And then the other thing on there, the other thing dropped out is run boosts.
Because you totally need those on a warden.
On a high elf warden. A race that has a trait to get a 10% run boost.
Is it possible to get somebody else's loot box? Like, did you get somebody else's loot box?
It must have been. Someone who was desperate for marks or something like that. But that is like if there's anything for which this character had absolutely no need of, one of them is, of course, marks, because I got plenty of those. And the other one, of course, is, right, so many sources of faster running. And, of course, this is one that's grouped up. So, therefore, it's the character that I have that's least likely to need run boosts in any case. Because they need to use run boosts just to keep up with me. We currently have 18 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or you may guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. And we did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast at LOTROplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter at the Players Alliance, at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Ariandis at Ariandis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, and Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin. You can also follow our guest Black at Black Shrubbery. The Players Alliance has 4 shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time. We have DDO Players News every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time. We have LOTRO Players News every other Thursday at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time. We have XP Quest, and on the first Thursday of each month at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time, we have Chromatic Bits. You can for our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Polyp Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.